Imagine traveling across the world for one of the biggest sporting events on Earth. The stadium is full. The lights are blinding. The crowd is electric. But just a few miles away, families are digging into the ground with their bare hands. Not looking for treasure. Not looking for history. They're looking for their children. Because in the same city, preparing to welcome millions of fans for the 2026 World Cup, hundreds of human remains have been found buried in secret locations. No headlines. No global outrage. Just silence and the sound of shovels hitting dirt. This isn't a horror story. This isn't a conspiracy. This is real. And tonight, we're going to uncover what's really happening beneath the surface of one of football's biggest stages. Guadalajara, Mexico. A city known for its culture, music, and passion for football. In 2026, it will host matches for the FIFA World Cup, one of the most watched events on the planet. Billions of people will tune in. Millions will visit. To them, it will look like a celebration. Modern stadiums, packed streets, a city alive with energy. But behind that image, there's another reality. One that most visitors will never see. Because while stadiums are being prepared, another kind of search is happening at the same time. Not by authorities, but by ordinary people. Mothers, fathers, sisters, people who refuse to stop looking for someone who disappeared. They call themselves search collectives. Groups of families who have one thing in common. Someone they love went missing and never came back. In many cases, they didn't get answers. They didn't get investigations. So they started searching themselves. They walked through empty fields, abandoned properties, remote areas outside the city. They carry simple tools, shovels, gloves, sometimes just sticks. And they follow clues most people wouldn't even notice. Disturbed soil. A strange smell. A tip from someone too afraid to speak publicly. And when they dig, sometimes they find nothing. But sometimes they find something no family should ever have to see. Over the past few years, multiple sites around the Guadalajara area have been discovered. Hidden locations where human remains were buried. Some in shallow graves. Some in abandoned land. In certain cases, hundreds of bags containing remains have been recovered from a single site. Let that sink in. Hundreds. Each one representing a person, a life, a family still waiting for answers. And the most disturbing part, many of these discoveries are not in remote wilderness. They're relatively close to urban areas, close to roads, close to neighborhoods, and in some cases, within the same general region where World Cup activity will take place. not inside stadiums, not underneath crowds, but close enough to raise serious questions. How can something like this exist, so close to something so global? To understand this, you have to zoom out. Because this isn't just about one city. Mexico has been facing a missing persons crisis for years. Tens of thousands of people have disappeared. And for many families, there are no clear answers, no closure. This is where those search groups come in. They've become one of the most important forces in uncovering the truth. Not because they want to, but because they feel like they have no other choice. Imagine not knowing what happened to someone you love. Not for days, not for weeks, but for years. That uncertainty, it changes everything. Now place that reality next to something like the World Cup, a global celebration, a symbol of unity. And suddenly, you have two completely different worlds existing in the same place. On one side, fans, music, excitement, cameras. On the other, search teams on unanswered questions, quiet grief. It's not that the World Cup is causing this, but it does shine a spotlight on it. Because when the world starts paying attention to a city, people begin to ask questions they didn't ask before. Questions like, what's really happening here? And more importantly, why haven't we heard about it? There are a few reasons why stories like this don't always reach global audiences. First, complexity. This isn't a simple case with one suspect and one victim. It's layered, complicated. Second, fear. In many areas, speaking out can be dangerous, which means information doesn't always flow freely. And third, attention. The world moves fast. Big stories come and go. And unless something directly affects a global audience, it often stays in the background. But that doesn't make it any less real or any less important. At the center of all of this are families. Not statistics, not headlines, people. People who wake up every day hoping for answers. People who refuse to give up. Some of them have been searching for years, walking the same paths, digging in the same areas, holding on to the smallest possibility that they might finally find something, even if it's not the outcome they were hoping for. Because sometimes, closure is all they have left to search for. As the 2026 World Cup approaches, Guadalajara will continue preparing. The world will arrive, and for many visitors, it will be an unforgettable experience. But at the same time, there's another story unfolding. One that won't be on the big screens. One that won't be part of the celebrations, but one that deserves to be seen. Not for shock value, not for headlines, but because it's real, and because behind every discovery, there's a story that hasn't been fully told yet. When the first whistle blows in 2026, millions will be watching the game. But very few will be thinking about what lies beyond the stadium lights. The people still searching, the questions still unanswered, and the reality that exists just outside the spotlight. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. Because sometimes, the most important stories are the ones that aren't being talked about enough.